everyone. Thanks for joining us for Perspectives for Parents. Today, I am so happy because we had such a good time last with Pat and Susie Kroll, so we wanted to continue our conversation. Last time you guys shared about your marriage and how your faith in Christ is central to your relationship, and I just so appreciate your honesty about faith, the importance of it. But also, you shared that not everything is always perfect. It's not always peachy keen. And so wondering if you could just start us off with, I have a note here about the story about a mattress in your truck.
I know that story.
You want to give your little qualifier?
Well, my qualifier is just for anyone who's watching, we are not saying this is the recipe for successful marriage. We've been married 38 years and it's been like this, you know, but the one constant for us is our faith in Christ, and it's difficult. Marriage can be very difficult. You've got two imperfect people joined together, and it can be very hard. So we in no way want to give the impression.
Some of us are more imperfect than others.
Anyway. So just as an illustration of one of our stories from our life, we have the mattress story, which Leslie knows well as a good friend of ours.
So this is I think this may be almost the closest we've ever come to really, serious marital difficulty. The setup was that our son had moved from a crib to a bed, and to encourage him we needed to get him a bedroom set. So we went out and found a nice thing, a bureau and a kind of bunk bed with a futon and all the stuff. So, okay, great. We're going to buy this. So the first thing was that, $70 for the delivery charge, and cheap me says, $70? No way. We'll get this ourselves. And Susie is immediately objecting right there in the store. How are we going to transport all this stuff? No problem. We can get my dad's pickup truck. And, well, how are we going to lift it? It's big. It's heavy. It's like, well, Jessica is a 12-year-old softball player, and she's got the strength, so she and I can get this thing. So right off the bat, we're on a path towards something that Susie has advised against. No, she just wants to have it delivered, but we're going to be cheap. So on the appointed day, several other little things had been sort of obstacles had come up, and we dealt with them. So we're driving up to Vancouver in where this warehouse is with with a big old pickup truck, and we get there without any problem, find the place, and the young man. Now the rules of when we had set up the pickup, they had said, look, you gotta be able to load this thing yourself. The warehouseman is not responsible for loading your truck. You got to do it yourself. So, okay. So we get up there, and we give the guy the order, and we fully expect that he's going to come and just dump it right there on the loading dock in front of us. But we're kind of chit-chatting, and before we know it, this guy comes back, and he's slung everything by himself. He's the box, there's like 3 or 4 boxes, and he's put all this stuff in, and the last thing that goes in is the box with the mattress, the futon mattress. And so
there was no box. It was just covered in
plastic wrap. Plastic wrap. So you know how heavy futon mattresses are. They are heavy. And so I said, and he says, okay, there you are, good to go. And I said, well, doesn't it need a rope or a tie down or something? No, it'll be fine. Well, I know futons are heavy, so okay. So we get in the truck, and we're starting to drive home. And I am already starting to do the celebration dance, which means I told you everything was going to be fine. And by the way, it's starting to snow.
It's an open bed pickup.
Open
It's
bed
starting
pickup.
to snow.
But everything's, because it's all wrapped up, it's all fine. And driving along, and I notice in the rear view mirror that there's some kind of a traffic disturbance behind me. The cars are kind of, doing this kind of a thing. And I realize, oh my gosh, where's the mattress? The mattress has blown out.
It's on 205.
Okay, so that sets the fuse on Susie. She starts to steam. So, okay, still no problem. I pull over onto the shoulder and I start to back up because, oh, indeed, in the distance, there's a little pink something, which is the edge of the futon. So I'm backing up and
On the shoulder.
on the shoulder of the
205.
road. And it's but I realized, oh no, it was on the right, it was on the correct side of the road. I mean, it was in the lane on the far right, So I go backing up to it and I'm looking this way over my inside shoulder to see where it is. And suddenly, and so I looked back again and, well, where's the mattress? Now the mattress is not there anymore because the mattress at that moment goes driving past us, stuck underneath the car of some gal who didn't think it was necessary to go around the mattress. She was just going to go right over it, and it got stuck underneath her car. So now this thing is being, we assume, shredded, and definitely, it's ruined.
It's going down the freeway. There goes our mattress.
So, okay, Susie notes this too. Now it's, now the mattress is ruined, and you're going to kill yourself by, So I get out and basically I run across a lane of traffic and I hoist this mattress up and the cars are going by and I get it back and drag it into the car. And oh man, she was so mad.
Well, and our daughter, who's 12 at the time, is sitting in between us on the bench seat in the truck. She pulls up the hood of her sweatshirt and just kind of goes down like this because she knows mom's gonna blow. She's just gonna blow.
Out of the way, Jess, get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. She had self-preservation in that moment. But yeah, and then I made Pat turn around and go back to the mattress place. We go, or the furniture place, we go in. And I am kicking him under the counter, like, don't you say a thing. And I am saying, your guy put this mattress in. He did not tie it down. We should not be responsible, even though my husband's kind of an idiot. But don't.
That doesn't really mean I'm really an idiot.
Oh my gosh. They had to order us another mattress.
I felt
to
bad
be delivered.
I felt bad for the warehouse guy because I assumed that we were getting him fired by insisting.
Anyway,
several days later, it was several days later before the temperature in the house warmed up to room temperature. So.
Oh yeah, Anyway, we've given our friends such a good story to laugh about over the years, but that was...
Oh, it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then.
Well, what it says, though, is two things that I'm thinking of. A, it's sometimes not the big things that cause the biggest fights, because I remember one of our fights was how I loaded the garlic press into the dishwasher. And whether or not I cleaned out the garlic from the when I put it in, and I was so mad I was about to tell Mark what he could do with the garlic press. Buy 3 garlic presses, but it's never, it's not the big things. Sometimes it's not the pandemic, or we weather it through the big upheavals in our lives, our parents' cancers, our kids' problems. Sometimes what is a trigger point is a mattress or a garlic press.
There you go.
Well, by this point, yeah. I mean, by this point, if you haven't settled the big ones, you're not still together. And so it's just the little ones that are left. But it's funny how the little ones can grow into big ones because they get sort of connected and related to, remember that fight we had in 1854? It was the exact same thing. I told you then. Well, yeah.
You know, and I think that's true, Pat. Sometimes the things we're fighting about are the same issues. They just keep recycling. The thing I wanted to say is I know that story because I've known Susie for the time of the mattress all these years. But what it says to me is what has helped Susie and I have longevity in each of our marriages is having a friendship that we can be completely honest. Because there have been times when we've sympathized with each other over our spouses, but there also have been times when Susie and the friends in this covenant group have said, you're absolutely wrong, Leslie. You know, you need to look at it through Mark's perspective. You know, to have friends that are good enough friends that we can laugh at the things that, you know, we're really, but also friends that listen, but also friends that, you know, speak really the truth in love.
To my knowledge, the group has never concluded that Pat was right.
No, in this instant, Pat, we have never concluded that.
Okay.
But Leslie, you raise a good point that, you know, marriage, though it is centered in Christ, even when it is centered in Christ, you know, we need other people. We need outside support. And whether it's a good group of friends who could help direct us and give us, you know, some, you know, you're not right there, or yeah, you're right, but you're right, you know, to guide us. So good friends, counselors, marriage counselors can be such a wealth of just a resource for all of us. Would either of you like to speak to that?
Well, we have not as such seen a marriage counselor, but I had seen a counselor myself for some other things, and that just helped me stay sane, and has, you know, gave me some tools with which to kind of go forward, because of course when one of us is not doing well, it impacts the relationship as well. So even if you feel like, well, I need to get some help, go get some help. And there are very qualified people. It was very important to me that also that my counselor was a Christian, because you kind of don't, I didn't want somebody to say, oh, it's your faith playing into your issues, you know, because you're seeing it this way. I needed somebody who could understand how important, that I wouldn't be judged on my faith, you know, that I would be helped to see how there was a connection, or how maybe the Lord was working in my life in a particular way. So I think it's absolutely very helpful. I think we referenced before that we have not a counselor per se, but we had done some marriage encounter kinds of things that we felt really, one in particular, I mean, I felt like that really saved our relationship because of the things that they gave us to focus on. You know, you're away from home, you're away from the laundry baskets and the stresses that are in your home.
In fact, it was one of the requirements. They
Yeah.
said, if you sign up for this thing, we want you, even if you're not coming from very far away, I mean, even if you're coming from down the street, we want you to stay in a hotel,
Yeah.
you know, at least for one night. And we had a young child, you know, Jessica was maybe a year old or whatever, you know, whatever she was. And we're thinking, we're cheap and we don't have a lot of money. We're not going to spend money on a hotel when we can just drive to and from. But the first night, we fortunately were smart enough to hear what they had, you know, okay, we'll stay in a hotel the first night, we won't the second night. but it was super important. It was really good. And yeah, that the whole, I agree. I think that weekend made a giant difference in just improving everything. And I don't know that we would have, continued to go downhill had we not done it. But I just think we wouldn't have worked things out and gotten things on an even keel as quickly as we did. And then it kind of gives you some baseline stuff that we return to over and over again through the years as sort of, well, remember this and don't forget, from that weekend. So it gave us some really good tools that we continued to use for a long time.
I have, oh.
Go ahead. Do you want to finish, Suze?
Well, just that I feel like one of the nuggets that came to me from that particular marriage encounter weekend was see your spouse as this present, as this gift that God has given you. How would you treat a present that God has given you? Maybe it's not exactly what you wanted. Maybe it's, you got an appliance instead of, a vacation to Hawaii. But how do you treat that? How do you treat that gift? It's, and that has come back to me time and time again.
For one thing, you wouldn't make the gift walk from Vancouver back home after a mattress incident. So that saved me a long walk.
Anyway, just that was a nugget.
And I think those nuggets, Mark and I have had counseling before, both individually and as a couple. And I think it's those nuggets that we took out of it. For us, it was a lot of communication nuggets. One of them was called the speaker listener tool, being how to speak and listen. And, it's a lot of active listening. I remember one of the nuggets that they shared with me is that your spouse can't read your mind. And it's really important to put a target out there, especially for Mark. I would think for me, can't you see what I need? And he's like, I really want to hit the target. Can you tell me what it is? That's not it for me. But one of the things that I always like to normalize is going to see a marriage counselor or an individual counselor, especially like we're in a time like this, an unprecedented time. It's like the same thing that when you see your internal medicine doctor for a yearly checkup. There are times that you just need that outside perspective to say, let me look into your marriage and see what I'm seeing and give you some tools to help you move forward.
Yeah.
And it's been really helpful for us. One of the nuggets that we received was don't keep score. Just with things, we have so many things to get done during our day. Take out the garbage, do the dishes, but don't keep score. You're not competing against each other. You guys are a unit, you're a team. What I love and what I've heard here is that there are, God calls us to be one in marriage. We are distinct people. And so it's important for us to take responsibility of what am I responsible for? What are they responsible for? And when we recognize that we are responsible on our own to make change or seek help, that just feeds into that oneness. Genesis chapter 2:24 says this. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. There's that oneness, which is, that's the Lord's desire for us. But it takes work, and it takes intentionality, and but there is a beauty to it. But it takes time.
I was thinking of. Well, there are a couple of things that just came up in, Dr. Phil or whatever. He had a guest on his show who was talking about the 4 horsemen of divorce. of apocalyptic marriages. He says, I can see a divorce happening usually within 30 seconds of watching how a couple interacts in my office. And therefore, if you avoid these 4 behaviors, you got a lot better chance. Or if you are experiencing, if you recognize these behaviors in your marriage, get to a counselor, because you're in trouble, even if you don't think you are. And one of them had to do with basically, never, it's being loyal to your partner in even mentally. So if you're loyal, you can be angry at somebody, you can even criticize them, but generally you're not really criticizing them with a hard edge to anybody else, or even really to yourself. If you're thinking super critical thoughts of somebody else, okay, that's one thing, but you're not being loyal to them if you're really, thinking, if you're being serious about your criticality. Oh, she doesn't, she can't, she won't. Well, that's not really a loyal person would not sort of put that distance between himself and his partner to say that, even mentally. And so the loyalty, what you just said, is being one. You're one with the person, you're not separated from. That was it. Just a couple little things like that throughout time.
And I just wanted to say, we have lots of friends who have gotten divorced, and this is not an indictment of they didn't do this or they didn't do that. We're fortunate in that both of us wanted to work on it. And we know that that's not always the case. We know that there are extenuating circumstances. So that's why we don't want to be held up as this, we're just saying what has worked for us and continues to work for us. So
and even had it been just me, I mean, I feel like Susie is the glue. She's the one who sort of recognizes when we need to do work on the relationship, whereas I don't like conflict. I don't like those conversations. I would just as soon bypass them, but they're important, and they have been important in helping us work stuff out, so that when things start to go on a little bit of a downhill slide, they're arrested because my partner sees them and says, this needs attention. We got to talk about this. And as I say, I would just as soon kind of like let it go, but nope, that's not how it works best for us. So.
Well, and you and Susie might be the glue, and you are the glued. So
Yes, I'm going to be glued.
There's willingness on your part, and I think willingness it goes a long way when working with each other. And so thank you again. Thank you for sharing your marriage. We know that it is not, every single person does not have the same experiences in life and same relationships, but thank you for being honest and willing to share with all of us what works for you guys, and for your openness. So we appreciate you.
Well, thanks for having us, and thanks for saying these nice things about us.
Well, we'll see the rest of you all next time. Thanks for joining us for Perspectives for Parents.
Bye, everyone.